Hey, thanks for checking out my video. So what I wanted to talk about today is friendships and romantic relationships. Um, because the two of them don't really get talked about in tandem that much. They don't get talked about together that much. But I feel that friendships are pretty important. I think they're just as important as romantic relationships. I felt this way for a long time, but I watched somebody else's video on it, and that's when I was like, yeah, I have to make my own on this for sure. But I'd love to make a video in the future, including the snippets from that one that I really enjoyed. Just not yet. I'm still trying to make sure I post more often though. So let's just focus on what I'm going to talk about today. Anyways, so to start, like I said, I feel like friendships are pretty important. We all have like friends, but I think like finding close friends that actually match you is really hard. I feel like a lot of people have close friends that like they match them to some extent, but there's still a lot of things that they can't do with those close friends. Maybe this is just a me problem, but I have this thing where I have fun with people, and then I just immediately assume that like, okay, we're going to be good buddies. And what that has led to is having a lot of like friend groups where people don't really get me, and I honestly feel like I'm just like a nuisance sometimes and just kind of annoying. And it's hard to talk about myself without getting completely ignored or like no response. And I don't think any of my friends are bad for doing that, by the way. If they're like watching this or something, I don't think y'all are like bad or anything for that. It's just the way it is. And, like it's my responsibility to find people that actually want to hear what I talk about and things I care about. So that's what I'm trying to do. You know, not trying to like cut off any old friends or anything like that, but I'm just trying to like find people that I could like really resonate with. Because I have a lot of friends who I can do fun things with. Um, but I guess those fun things always kind of hit a wall and they get boring because I feel like I can't connect fully. I don't know how else to explain it. So, uh, yeah. But anyways, that's more about me. I Yeah, the friendship thing because well, anyways, back to the main topic though about like friendships and romantic relationships and these two things I think society and media tends to put a lot more emphasis and attention on romantic relationships. I think obviously for the sake of people having more kids, because more kids and more people in society means you have more working people to make more money and produce more things, obviously. Um, but like nobody really teaches you, and this is one of the things that I got from that video that I really liked that the person has said was that nobody really teaches you how to like there's all this attention on how to find the perfect partner, even though people struggle with that, but like there's no attention on like how to navigate friendships. No one tells you about the friendships where like friendships kind of change, like the ones that you start with in high school versus the ones that you have in college or even like middle school or whatever, and like how they all kind of like slowly change and transform over time. um you know it's just so many things, how you kind of like outgrow some friends, how some friends are, you think you're good with them, and then you're not. you know it's weird, like there's so many different situations with different kinds of friends, and like nobody talks about it. you know well, to be fair, people do talk about it, they absolutely do on YouTube, but it doesn't quite get the same amount of attention. Wait, maybe I can turn this on. This is so fucking hot in here. Okay, I hope that doesn't fuck anything up. So I turned on my fan, and this is loud. I'm hoping the noise canceling like destroys that shit. Because if it's loud, I'm gonna be so pissed. Anyways, I have friends who are in relationships and even they feel lonely from time to time because their partner can only do so much with them, right? Like even their partner needs a break sometimes too. And that's where friends come in, where they do the other things with you because even whoever you end up with, you guys can only match to such an extent. You can only like so many of the same movies or the same activities. There's going to be some things that you yourself as an individual like that they might not like, and you'll need friends to cover those bases for you. And like if you're going to throw parties, like who are you going to invite other than family, right? Family and friends, right? You need friends for things, right? It's really important. Um, they're so important, they're your support system when relationships don't work out. They are the people that you can confide in and rely on. you know they're gonna grow with you for like the longest amount of time, um before you find your partner and after you find your partner, right? They're always gonna be there like family, right? So I feel like close friends are something really important to find. But you know what else is interesting though is that I feel that the search for good friends is really hard. It's particularly difficult. And that isn't covered by anyone. Nobody really talks about how insanely hard it is to find like good close friends, right? I feel like everyone just kind of settles with like friends that make them like semi comfortable and they just live with that. But like what are the methods to find good friends? Like what are you supposed to do? How do you start? How do you initiate, One of the more interesting questions is what do you do when you meet someone? What do you do to learn more about them, to learn if they will be a good potential match, other than like they made you laugh or you got like y'all like the same thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like you guys can enjoy the same things, but like there are times when, for example, I talk about like how sometimes I try to talk to some of my friends and they don't really know how to like reply to anything that I say. It's like, how do I know that like just because I found someone who has similar interests as me, how do I know that they're also someone that like I can talk to and they can like actually have a nice back and forth with me, right? Like how do you pick that up? How do you find that? How do you like pull that out of someone and see like that's a thing that they can do or not, right? That's the interesting part to me. It's like what are the first few steps when you meet someone and like what kind of conversation do you have? Um, I can say that I found a little bit of it. There's something I feel. It's almost like magical or something, but when you speak to someone, like you can kind of tell, you can feel it. You can feel it in your bones, like, okay, this person might be someone I could chat with. And you have a nice long conversation, and I feel like that's when you can really feel like, okay, like this person is cool. But the only way to really feel that as well, sorry if I'm going on a tangent here, but the only way to even like get that like that feeling, that magical feeling that I'm talking about is like by being yourself. So what I've discovered so far when it comes to meeting people and seeing if they're like an actual good potential close friend, what I've discovered so far is that um, you got to do two things. The first one would be asking. You have to do two things. You have to do two things if you want to make sure someone is a good friend or not, or potential, at least in my regards, like someone who can actually chat with, right? I found that there's two things that must be done. One is that you've got to have a nice long conversation. So a couple like small jokes here and there, or like playing together sometimes doesn't really make you like potential for a good friend. Games are very like distracting. Video games are very distracting. I want to talk about that, but I'll leave that for now. Anyways, um, yeah, you can have fun with someone, play games with them, drink with them, joke with them, whatever, and you like they might be a good friend. But like having a good, solid conversation, especially when they're sober, like as they are and who they are, that's really important. And that whole time, you need to be yourself. You need to be you right from the get go. And this is what I love about friendships versus romantic relationships, that the stakes are like a lot lower. Like you don't have to. I don't know why people tend to worry more about like relationships more when they're on dates and things like that, but like for friendships, it's like the stakes are like way lower. Like it's just a friend, right? So it's not a big deal. I say that, but I mean, any of us who have like social anxiety or just to get anxious around people in general, nervous, like that's a whole different deal, right? It still doesn't feel that way. Like it's low stakes. It still feels like everything feels like high stakes. Unfortunately, like one small word could like scare this person off, or they'll think I'm weird, blah blah blah. But in general, yes, like it is lower stakes. But you've got to be yourself, like right from the get go, because there's something that feels so good about being yourself in front of someone, and like they just openly accept it right then and there without you even having to ask or like describe how they should accept it or whatever. It feels like so nice, and you carry it with you for the whole day. I've had that happen a couple times, and it felt amazing. Like that's when I learned like, oh, I do need people. I used to think I didn't, but that's when I learned like, okay, like I used to think that I could just like settle with people that I have fun with and that's it. But then when I decided to actually be myself and someone accepted me for who I was right then and there, it felt amazing. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it feels really nice. And I want to find more people that can accept that. What was I gonna say? Oh, video games. Video games are so bad. I love them, but they can be so bad when it comes to making friends. Because oh my god, you get so used to just playing together, and there's not enough actual conversation about your day and your life and your this and your that, like all the details about you. You spend so much time just in the game, like making call outs, like playing together. It's not like it's friendship, but it's not like a good quality friendship, to be honest. Because whenever the game is off, I don't know if you experienced this, but for me, like whenever the game is gone or it's off, oh my god, we don't know what to talk about. It just goes to like pure silence. Like I hate that feeling so much. It's like, because I'm thinking to myself like, we're friends, we should be able to talk, but I understand like these are like gaming friends, so we're not going to be able to talk. But like it sucks when the game is was off and like there's nothing to talk about, or like it's really awkward, or like we only talk about the game, right? Or like maybe you come to them and you want to talk about something aside from the game, and then you realize from the way that they're responding that like they don't give a fuck. This is the worst feeling ever. Oh my god, because games are really good at that. They're really good at like keeping you hooked and distracted, and you're just not really paying attention to the person beside you, the person who's with you, the person online, whatever. Like you're not really paying attention to like who they are, because that's not required. All that's required is like y'all can coordinate and communicate with each other and maybe make jokes, and like that's good enough, right? And maybe you guys are both respectful with each other. But I find those like friendships are kind of like lacking in some regards in terms of like being able to like hold like meaningful conversations, right? Like whenever the game isn't there, it's like it's so scary to talk to anyone, because it's like what are we going to talk about, um yeah. Yeah, games are really good at like tricking you, so be careful if you start meeting people through a game and you only game, you guys don't even talk. Careful of that. That one's like really insidious. If I could do anything, I'd love to like talk to people first and then game with them after. That way I know we can at least talk, right? Hmm. You know what? I think this is enough for today. I don't need to do any more. But this was good. I'm glad I got this off my chest and I was talking. I did like a couple takes before, but like I felt really like awkward. I felt like a robot when I was talking. I still feel like nervous in front of the camera. Like my mouth feels all weird and my face feels weird, but I'm sorry if you can hear like stomping upstairs. Anyways, yeah, I am glad I was able to do this, and thanks for watching. And take care, and I hope you have a good day or evening or night or whatever. Adios.